we're resistant to change. We're incredibly resistant to change, actually, and it's often hated. But why? I mean, I can name plenty of amazing things that haven't changed. The way we seek out connection, the wish to be understood, the sunrise and sunset, the moon and the stars, the way we express ourselves in stories and music and art and making things, the impact of kindness, the power from love, the way we give unique meaning to life and everything in it, no matter what chaos unfolds, no matter what's changed. Those are consistent. Those haven't changed. And they're good things. So why are we so resistant to it? Where the mayfly has literal minutes or hours to live, we've brought humanity to a place where we can live 100 years. Now just think about that. Because 100 or so years ago, we were lucky to live 50 years. We've doubled that. And that's because of change. People associate change with the unknown, but who said that unknown had to be bad? Just because we don't have that sense of familiarity, just because we don't know the ins and outs of how to control it or deal with it, doesn't mean that it's something that's bad. Instead of imagining a relationship over, why can't we imagine it better? Instead of living, why don't we imagine ourselves thriving? Instead of steps backward, steps forward. Why do we have this mindset where we jump to the worst case scenario when it comes to change? Have we always been opposed to change? Something that's quite interesting is there are people who have tried to change things. People who have successfully changed things. And they've been discriminated against because they go against the norm. They go against what's familiar. They're travelling into unknown territory. And I think that scares people. And one such person that comes to mind is Edison, right? He's made a couple of inventions. And a story that comes to mind with Edison is the one that's floated around places talking about a letter that he got from his mother. And it talks about how his teacher said that he was addled, how he would need to basically leave the school or be expelled from the school because he's mentally challenged and they couldn't teach him. And the story goes on to say something along the lines of his mother received that letter from the school saying all that stuff. And when Edison queried about it, his mother said instead that the letter said he was incredibly intelligent, beyond the capabilities of teaching him, and that their recommendation is to remove him from the traditional school for them to homeschool him. And that somehow propelled him into having that self-esteem and that confidence and becoming the inventor he was renowned for. And that after his mother died, he came across that letter and realised the truth. And that his mother gave him that encouragement, and that changed everything. And it's a lovely story, right? But something that's been highlighted is that it is historical fiction. And I actually saw this from Firms Consulting. Firms Consulting did a sort of blog on it, or an article. And they actually found the real story. So they found in a rare interview with TP's Weekly on 29th of November 1907 that Edison was saying he one day overheard the teacher tell the inspector that he was addled and it would not be worthwhile keeping him in school any longer, and that he was so hurt by this that he burst out crying and went home and told his mother. And then she came out and defended him. That she brought him back to the school, angrily told the teacher that he didn't know what he was talking about, and that he had more brains than he himself and a lot more understand. And because of that sort of enthusiastic display of how she believed in him, right? He determined then and there that he would prove to her that her confidence was not misplaced. So, in actuality, the story is a bit different. But, at the same time, it's a little bit better, right? But it does make me wonder from that story. I wonder if that teacher and the other people around, I wonder if they saw change in that child, and instead of embracing it, got scared of it and turned it away. Because change is unknown. Because change you can't control, it's not familiar. And even with known things that are bad, you know how to deal with them. But if it's unknown, then you don't know how to deal with it. And what if it is bad? All these sort of thoughts come into play when you think about the unknown and when it comes to change. And it does make me wonder if that's something that happened that day. And it also makes me think, imagine what could happen if we accepted change more readily. What you'd be capable of. What we're all capable of. I think a few people have heard that quote, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. And while there's been a lot of controversy around exactly how that works and how external judgment would factor into this and how fish don't think about things like that, it's a metaphor, right? I think we can agree that it's, in essence, all it's saying is you can be incredibly intelligent and talented, but if you're only ever measured by your mistakes, by what you struggle with, or your inabilities, you'll never consider yourself smart or capable. And yet look at all the changes in the world that we've had, that we've made, even with the adversity to the unknown, to change and everything with it. I mean, if we look at travel, we've gone from walking to horses with wheels and trains and automobiles and planes and rockets. If we look at tech, we've gone from computers to internet to AI in recent years. When it comes to appliances or basic needs, look how we've upgraded our housing. I mean, we used to live in caves and things, right? Since then, we've figured out how to build a house. And different types of houses. We figured out how to go from fires cooking our food to microwaves and ovens. We figured out how to, instead of washing plates by hand or washing them, I don't know, in a bowl or basin, to a dishwasher. Before the Hoover, there was a broom, right? We've gone from basic drinks, like water, to milk and orange juice, to flavoured waters, flavoured milk in milkshakes and squash, to scented water now. We've got Air Up, right? Edible contained water Now, I know some of you won't understand what I mean by that, but there is actually an edible water container now. So if you want to look that up, I do have the name for it. I think it's referred to as Uho or something like that. 2 O's, HO, right? And it's a biodegradable alternative to plastic bottles. And it's basically you put water into this sort of seaweed-based membrane thing that encapsulates the water or liquid that you choose, and you can basically eat it, or I don't know, crush it in your mouth or something, and you can consume it. Now that's pretty advanced, right? I don't think many people really are aware of that. I wasn't aware of it when it came up for me, but it's something that I think is quite interesting, right? And that's all. That's all with our resistance to change. So you can imagine how things would be vastly different if we embraced it, if we encouraged it, if we weren't so afraid of the potential fallout or the fact that it's unknown and unfamiliar. And the same obviously goes with, foodstuffs when it comes to the change as well. We've gone from hunting and gathering to growing, cultivating, storing, to fast food, ready meals and blended foods. Like, when I say blended foods, I'm talking more about like cronuts and all these kinds of things now, where you have a cross between a croissant and a donut. I really like those. And social media and communication. We've gone from, having radios and telephones to mobiles and social media. Like, there's a lot of things that have changed. Education has gone from Sunday schools to every day. We've gone from private schools to, now they're available to the public. Now they're available to minorities. Now we have the right to go to school. Now we're introducing tech into school, right? Better practices. Less child labour. Less harm to the environment, right? These are things that we think about, things that we develop over time, through change, through knowledge, through understanding, through seeking information, through seeking something better. And it just makes me think, imagine what we could do if we weren't resistant to change. Because there's a lot. There's a lot that we could do. There's a lot that could happen if we weren't so resistant to it. And that's all I really had to say. That's all I really wanted to say here. So, if this is something you're interested in seeing, DM me on Insta.